While many of us probably assume that condoms are a fairly recent phenomenon, as it turns out, they have been in use for thousands of years. That being said, back then, they were made from animal intestines. Luckily for us, due to advancements in technology, we can mass produce safe, clean, cheap, and versatile condoms, thousands of units at a time. But even that super automated process starts with the same thing as any other manufacturing process: the collection of raw materials. I'm sure that you have at least once in your life heard of a condom being referred to as a rubber. And as it turns out, that's not without reason. You see, nowadays, all condoms are made from latex, a natural material that is produced by rubber trees and which is used in all kinds of things from gloves, pencil erasers, bags, and yes, condoms. This latex is gathered by cutting into rubber trees and collecting the resulting white liquid that, when allowed to set, can turn into natural rubber. This material is then gathered in huge batches and mixed with a few stabilizing agents like ammonia to make sure that it doesn't solidify during shipping. After that, these batches are packaged and shipped across the world to the condom manufacturing plant, where it is stored in huge temperature-controlled tanks before use. This brings us to the actual manufacturing, the main part of which is the molding and dipping. During this step, as the name implies, condom molds, usually made of metal or glass, are used from the shape of the condom. But before that can be done, the latex has to be prepared for the molds to be dipped in. For this, it is brought into long, deep vats where it is first heated and then has chemicals added to it in a process known as pre-vulcanization. This ensures that the latex is as strong, durable, and ready to stick as possible, and also removes any allergic potential of the substance. And once the entire vat is ready, the molds are brought in. These molds are also prepared for the process with a thorough wash to ensure no impurities interfere with the condom manufacturing, and to allow the surface to be as slippery as possible for easy condom removal later. And after having been cleaned and dried, these molds are brought in a single file on a computer-controlled belt that slowly and carefully dips them into the latex solution to ensure that there are no unnecessary splashes or uneven marks. That is also why the molds are rotated throughout the entire process, as it ensures that a smooth, shiny, and even layer of latex sticks to the mold. Finally, once they have been submerged for a predetermined amount of time, the molds are brought out as carefully as they were brought in, once again, to ensure an even layer. Now, while this does create the initial shape of the condom, the layer is still only a hair's width. So, after the first layer has been allowed to air dry for a bit, the molds are once again dipped in the latex the same way as before to increase the thickness and, as a result, the strength of the condom. And with that second dip, the molding process is finally complete, after which we can move on to the next step: vulcanization. Now, if we were to remove the condoms from the molds right now, while they would definitely hold their shape, they would not be nearly as strong or as elastic as they should be. So, to induce those qualities, the condoms are brought into a long furnace where they are heated up. This process is known as vulcanization and can increase the strength and elasticity of latex by over 200%. And as a bonus, it also gives the latex a smooth, almost silky surface, which is important for quite obvious reasons. And after this process is complete, the still warm condoms are passed along a rolling brush that rolls the top edge of the condom into the signature rim that allows a condom to remain strong while also allowing someone to hold it while applying. And finally, once the rim has been made and the condoms are strong and dried out, we can move on to the next step: cleaning. It's not a surprise that a healthcare tool like a condom has to be perfectly clean and free of any residue or impurities. As a result, the condoms and the molds are first passed under a high-powered water jet. This, A, washes off any remaining latex and chemicals, and B, takes the condom off the mold and throws it into a pile below. From there, the condoms are put into a washing machine, which cleans off any remaining chemicals and also sterilizes their surface so that no germs find their way into the package. After this, the condoms are once again dried and applied to holders where they are left to mature for 2 days before moving on to the second last and most important step, the testing. Since a faulty condom has the potential of ruining someone's life in huge ways, a lot of emphasis is placed on the safety and consistency of condoms. As a result, before leaving the plant, all condoms must pass rigorous safety tests that are maintained by both the company and the FDA. The first and most obvious of these tests is the pinhole test, where each and every condom is tested for any and all puncture holes. For this, the condoms are filled with water, which is connected with a positive electrode. These condoms are then placed in another vat of water that is connected to a negative electrode, so that if the water on the inside of the condom has any way of touching the water outside, a circuit is completed, indicating to the computer that the condom is faulty. This not only ensures absolute surety, but can also catch holes that would be impossible for anyone to observe using their eyes. Another important test is the volume test, as specified by the international standard ISO 40, according to which all safe condoms must be able to hold 18 liters of air without exploding. To test this, some condoms from a batch are inflated using pumps until they burst, and the maximum volume is compared with the standard. Most condoms nowadays easily hold over 30 liters of air. After this, another set of condoms undergoes a stretch resistance test that measures the tear resistance of the condom by artificially stretching it and seeing how long it takes for the condom to tear. And finally, the condoms are inspected by a health professional using a microscope to make sure that they are germ-free to a high standard. During this process, if even a single condom fails any one of the tests, the entire batch is discarded and the process is started over. But if the batch passes, it is finally sent off to the last destination, packaging. Here, a machine takes off all the condoms from their holders in the form of neat little rings, like the ones you're familiar with. These are then passed over a conveyor belt where workers perform a visual inspection to make sure no deformed condoms make their way to the packaging. Then, a machine deposits a few drops of lube into the condom for better performance and ease on the user's side, and it's also at this stage that any scents or aroma oils are added to the surface depending on the type of the product. After this, the condoms are individually wrapped in specially designed foil packaging that keeps the condom sterile and clean until the specified expiration date. And finally, the foil wrappers are put into cardboard boxes or sleeves that outline the usage, expiry date, and any warning associated with the condom. And once that is done, the condoms can be shipped off to wherever they are needed. All of which really goes to show that even for something as simple as a condom, there are hundreds of moving parts and careful considerations involved just so you and I can live safe, risk-free lives.